Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel, and for today we're gonna be answering the question, when should we replant our leaf propagated succulents, and at the same time, when is the right time to water our leaf propagations. But first, let me show you my propagation tray. So it's just very simple. I'm using an alder compost, some rice hull, and some pumice stones in this mix. Sometimes I feel like organizing my leaf propagations on top of our potting mix, but most of the time I just randomly throw them in our propagation tray and I just leave them there until they produce offset. So it's also something that you can try if you wanted, but if you want it to be more organized, then you can actually lay them flat on top of your potting mix nicely like what we have here. We also need to remember that not all of our succulent leaf propagations would be successful, and I'll be giving you a perfect example today. So what we have here at the back is our leaf propagations of our ghost plant. They have about 95% success rate. So as you can see, all of our propagations here have their own offsets already, but one of them actually has no offset yet. Let me give you a closer look, and as you can see here, it has roots already, but it has no any offset yet, and we are not so sure whether or not it will produce offsets in the future, but we can just simply put it back in our propagation tray and simply wait. So in this propagation tray, I also have some succulents that didn't produce any offset and roots until now. So they've been here for about 4 weeks already, but I think it's really difficult to propagate these succulents. So that includes our Agavoides Romeo, this one, the red ones. We also have our Echeveria Bluebird. We have about 20 leaves here, but none of them actually started to root or even produce any offset. We have our Lawi. It's one of those succulents that it's difficult to propagate through leaves. And we have some variegated titubans and some tomentosa cinnamon leaves. And so the next time you're going to be propagating your succulents through their leaves and they were not successful, don't feel bad, as not all of our succulents are all the same. In any case that your succulent leaf turns like this, wherein they become mushy or they have literally dried and died, we have to throw them away as they won't really produce any offsets anymore. These days, I usually water my succulents only if the mother leaf has completely dried. So let me give you an example here. One of the leaf has actually dried and the offset has already separated from the mother leaf. So here's a closer look of the mother leaf. We have to throw it away as we don't need that already. So after that, we have two options. We can start watering this if we want to, or we can actually start replanting this succulent in its own separate pot. So what I usually do is plant it in its own pot like what we have here, then we will just leave them there until they would literally outgrown their temporary container. So that's what I typically do every time I do leaf propagations, and sometimes I have no patience in propagating our succulents through leaves as it would really take a lot of time, and so I usually do some stem cuttings. It's the fastest way to propagate your succulents, and once they have outgrown their container, that's the time I will be transferring them into bigger pots. So these pots, by the way, are about 6.5 inches in diameter, and that would be a perfect size for our succulents until they fully mature. Going back to our leaf propagation tray, I cannot remember when was the last time I checked on these propagations. I placed them in an area wherein they are not receiving enough sunlight, and so some of them started to ethiolate or they become leggy. So in this case, what you can do is simply remove some of the lower leaves. We can actually propagate them again. So just like this. And after removing some of the bottom leaves, what we can do is simply cut it like that, and immediately after we can start planting this in its own pot. So as simple as that one. Growing succulents through leaves is not really that complicated. These are some examples of our leaf propagations that were planted in their individualized pots. Some are actually missing, probably the birds have taken them away. But here is pachythoids, a variegated pachythoids that we have successfully propagated through leaves. What else do we have here? This one would probably be my favorite in this batch. It's called the Echeveria hercules. It's a very beautiful succulent with reddish leaf margins once fully stressed, and I think we have to replant it in a bigger pot anytime this week. And we also have here another example of our leaf propagated succulent. It's called the Graptoveria marpin, and it has 5 offsets as of now. We also have our Echeveria black rose, and as you notice here, it has some roots coming out from the drainage hole, so that means that we need to repot the succulent into a bigger pot. So I guess that's all for today. If you have more questions about succulents, just simply comment it down below. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may also visit our Facebook page, A Desert Succulent PH.